How's it going, guys? Wow, I can't believe it's May already. Time really flies, especially when you're in quarantine. You got not a lot of stuff to do. The day goes by really fast. You kind of lose track of the time. I'm supposed to be graduating from college on May 9th. My birthday is this Sunday on May 3rd, so I actually got a lot of stuff coming up. It's just that I can't really celebrate it with too many people. These are pretty important events, my birthday and my graduation, but I'm gonna be all alone, so that's kind of sad, but it is what it is. I'm alive, I'm healthy, that's all that really matters during this time. I hope you're all doing well. It's a tough time, but we'll get through it, don't worry. So the gameplay that you're going to be seeing throughout this very long video is going to be a gameplay of the online multiplayer for Aliens vs. Predator, a game that came out in 2010. It was a reboot of the original Aliens vs. Predator series. And I have to say, I played a lot of online multiplayer over the years, and this game is definitely the most intense online multiplayer gaming experience I have ever had, because it combines elements of shooting, like it's a solid FPS, but you also have to watch your back, because you never know when an alien's gonna rip your guts apart, or a predator is right behind you and he's gonna kill you also. I love the species TDM because it's 3 different teams. It's the Marines, the aliens, and the predators, and it's just something like it. I've never experienced anything like this before. I picked it up on Steam for $5. I don't know if it's still on sale, because usually it's like 20 bucks, but it was $5 on sale. I'm like, hell yeah, I'm gonna pick this game up. I really enjoyed it back in the day on the PS3, and I was shocked to find out that this game still has a healthy player base 10 years later, because I don't even think this game sold very well. I don't think so. But that's the thing, I guess, about the PC gaming community. They're very dedicated to the games that they love, and they keep it alive no matter what, which I just love. So anyway, April was a pretty good month for the YouTube channel. I saw a gain of about 38 subscribers this month, which is actually really high for me because usually it stagnates around the same subscriber count. But it actually got a pretty good boost in subscribers this month. I'm not sure exactly what caused that. I know I've got a lot more views this month than I did last month, but it's just kind of strange because it just happened like in the past couple of days. It's not like it's been happening slowly throughout the month. Like, this just happened in the past 3 days. Like, I was gaining all these subs all of a sudden, which is kind of strange because I didn't gain that many views over the past couple of days, but that's when all the subs started coming in. So maybe it's the sub count that's messed up and it's just starting to update, or maybe they're overestimating my subscriber count. I'm not exactly sure what. I guess I'm doing something right. And the thing is, I'm kind of starting to run out of ideas. I know that's not something you should say when you're a content creator, but I'm definitely open to a lot of suggestions on topics that you want me to talk about, because the train is kind of slowing down a little bit. I know, like, throughout the month of March, especially February, I mean, back then, like, I was just coming up with so many videos, I had so many ideas, but I'm starting to run out of them, and I'm starting to have a hard time coming up with video ideas. I guess I could make more documentaries and just focus on that, but that would mean you get a lot less videos and a lot less content, and that would probably not be good for the channel. But I also don't want to just throw a random video together just so I could say I made a video, you know, at the same time. Like, I want to make something that I'm interested in, something that I want to talk about. And, you know, most of the views that come into my channel, they're videos talking about the Xbox Series X, the PlayStation 5. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of redundant at this point because we don't have any new information, so I'm just speculating and speculating and speculating. Like, I want to do some more stuff with the channel, so if you have any suggestions on what you want to see, as long as it fits the theme of the channel, like, I don't want to do, like, a whole hour-long presentation on trickle-down economics or something, you know what I mean? Like, it has to be related to the video game industry directly. So leave your suggestions down in the comments if you have any ideas. But without further delay, let's get into the reason why you clicked on this video in the first place. It's a monthly tradition on this channel where I take a look at the comments that you guys wrote on my videos in the past month, and I respond to them. I read them and I give my thoughts on what you said, and we just kind of continue the discussions that we've been having over the past month. So the first video I made in the month of April was looking back at PlayStation Home, which was a pretty interesting, unique experience for the consoles back in the day. And I just look at my whole photo album, and I really didn't expect this video to do so well. I just figured, hey, it's the 5-year anniversary of PlayStation Home shutting down, so why not do something a little different? But it actually did really well. You guys seem to really enjoy that video, which is awesome, because I didn't expect anyone to like it. Like, I expected it to be one of those videos where it gets, like, 50 views, and then it just sits there, and no one really cares because it's not really interesting. No one wants to see it. But I guess I was wrong. People really wanted to see it, and it got a lot of views. So, thank you for that. Let's see what you guys have to say. Magnamaster writes, if you love racing games with custom racetracks, you have to check out the Trackmania series. Great games, and the custom tracks are their big thing. Yeah, because I remember in that video I was talking about games that have shut down. I talked about Mod Nation Racers specifically. Yeah, Mod Nation Racers is one of the best racing games I've ever played, and it's a shame that the multiplayer servers were shut down or they didn't release another game on the PlayStation 4. It's really a shame because that was one of the best racing experiences I've ever had. Not only do you have, like, the casual kart style racing, because I really don't like the simulation racing games. It's not really for me. I like how it's kind of casual. But the best thing was that you could create your own racing tracks, which I just loved. So Magnum Master suggested Trackmania because you could create your own tracks. You could also create your own tracks in GTA. Like, it's not just the fact that you could create your own tracks. It was just something specifically about Mod Nation that really stuck out to me. And I actually tried Trackmania because it was one of the PlayStation Plus games 1 month, back when I was subscribed to that garbage service. And I don't know, for some reason I just didn't like it. Like, I didn't like the racing mechanics, I didn't like how the game played, so thanks for the suggestion, but I've actually tried it out already, and I'm not a big fan of Trackmania. I don't know why, but it's just not for me. Miction1, I guess that's how you pronounce it, I'm not sure, says it would be amazing if PlayStation Home made a comeback on PS5. They'd make a lot of dough out of this. The nostalgia is epic. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's gonna happen. As much as I'd love for it to happen, I don't think Sony is going to bring back PlayStation Home. There's probably a reason why it got shut down. There's probably a reason why it didn't get brought over to the PS4. I think they were making plenty of money off of it. I think the problem was that they didn't want to allocate the resources to port it over to the PlayStation 4, because I feel like a lot of the infrastructure for PlayStation Home was based off of the PlayStation 3's interface. So to try to transfer that over to the PS4 probably wouldn't have been an easy undertaking for them. They're just like, fuck it. I mean, we're making money on this, but it probably would cost us too much money than it's worth to bring it over to PlayStation 4 or even PlayStation 5. Like, I don't think Sony really has any plans on doing that. If they did, it would probably be something completely different, like, from what we're used to on PlayStation Home. Like, it would be something that, like, is unrecognizable from the original PlayStation Home. Like, it would be something different, but I don't think we're gonna get that. I don't think Sony really cares about the whole online world thing. Like, they're making plenty of money without it, right? I have a feeling that the reason why we got PlayStation Home in the first place is because, compared to Nintendo with their Mii's and Xbox Live, Sony felt very disconnected. Like, it felt like you didn't really have much of a social experience on that platform, so they released PlayStation Home to kind of change that perception of the PlayStation brand. And that's just a hunch that I have. It could be completely wrong, it could be a completely different reason why they decided to make PlayStation Home, but I feel like that might be a good reason why they decided to do that. And I have to say, for me personally, I enjoyed the hell out of PlayStation Home. I spent a lot of money on it, like so much money, probably more than $60, honestly, probably more like $100 to be honest. But yeah, it was a really fun time, and if you weren't around back then, it's a shame, because it really was something else. And I don't think it's gonna come back, unfortunately. I know some people are being really optimistic about that, but I don't think PlayStation Home is gonna come back on the PlayStation 5. Frozen Breeze says, Home was amazing. If you want to play the game, you can play an offline version that has the studio and bowling alley, but you have to jailbreak your PS3. Yeah, that just doesn't appeal to me. Like, I like PlayStation Home because you can interact with so many people, and having an offline version of it just doesn't feel right. I guess the bowling activity is fun, and some of the mini games they had, you know, I guess it's kind of cool that they're trying to restore that, but I don't know, I just don't see any appeal to that, in my opinion. But I guess a lot of people want PlayStation Home back no matter what, even if it's offline. But I feel like the online component was really what made PlayStation Home feel like home, you know what I mean? But let's move on to the next video in the month of April, where I talk about why I think the Intellivision Amico will fail. And oh, that video got a lot of attention also. I even got a comment from the creator of the Intellivision Amico, Tommy Tallarico, and that name might sound familiar to a few of you because he's a legendary music composer. If you're familiar with Video Games Live, like, he's behind that. He's composed music for all these different types of games, especially during the Genesis era. Aladdin is one of the games he's most famous for. And now he's working on a brand new console called the Intellivision Amico. He's the CEO of the new Intellivision company. But he actually left a comment on my video. Wow. I'm like, wow, the CEO of Intellivision left a comment on my video, which I thought was kind of strange, but also really cool. Like, wow, he's actually checking out my video, even though it's very negative, you know what I mean? But yeah, he actually left a nice and thoughtful comment. Now, I'm not going to address exactly what he said, like, in this video, because I plan on reaching out and doing the interview that he said that he wants to do. So maybe in the next month we'll have an interview with Tommy Tallarico, and we could talk a little bit more about the Intellivision Amico, and I can address some of the concerns that I have and that other people may have, and it'll be really cool. It'll be a nice break from the usual content that you see on the channel, because I've never really done an interview before, so I'm gonna probably do that like after I graduate, after I get my schoolwork done and I have a lot more free time on my hands, because, well, the lockdown's still going on, so I'll have plenty of time because I can't find a job in this economy currently. So I'll fit the interview with Tommy Tallarico in if he's still interested. So that'll be really cool, and I think a lot of you guys will enjoy that. So hopefully we can make it happen. But yeah, I'm very skeptical about the Intellivision Amico, and I'm really doubtful about it actually being successful, if it could actually succeed. I actually think I called it the next Ouya in that video. But Summonon says he actually wants an Amico. It actually looks great, even though he just got a Switch and already has a great PC. Its simple appeal and low cost is very tempting. The thing is the cost, $250. I think that's pretty steep, especially considering that the old consoles, the PS4 and Xbox One, can be bought for cheaper than that. So if a parent's looking for a cheap console, they can just get a last-gen console. You know what I mean? Like, they don't need this Intellivision Amico thing when you already have a lot of alternatives, including the Nintendo Switch. The Switch Lite is $50 cheaper than what the Amico is going for, and it appeals to that casual kid market that Intellivision's trying to go for right now. And the older people, I mean, like a legacy console that appeals to people that played the video games like 40 years ago, like, I don't think that's going to really sell so much. I think it's going to be a novelty item at best. I don't think it's going to take off and be this huge thing. I know they're not trying to compete with Sony or Microsoft, but either way, I don't think this system is going to do particularly well, because I just don't think the market exists, especially at that price point. Atari Dude agrees. He says, I think it could do better if priced lower. I think you made a good point about the Switch. They have a decent indie selection priced competitively. Plus, they have to get those casual gamers, and right now most of their games are for retro players, not casuals. 2 of the games are already available on mobile if you want to try them, Evel Knievel and Emoji Charades. May give you an early taste of the types of games they will offer. I wish them the best. Console Wars 2, Intellivision loses to Atari again. He's talking about the Atari VCS, which is another console coming out, supposedly in the fall, but who knows with the whole COVID stuff. Honestly, I think the Amico has a better shot than Atari, because at least the Amico has an identity. Like, you know what the Amico is trying to accomplish, but with Atari, like, I don't know what this console is supposed to be. It's supposed to be cost like what, $300, something like that, maybe $250. Like, we don't even have a price point officially. We don't even know like what kinds of games are going to be on that platform. Like, that's a really important thing to know, what games are going to be on the system, and we don't have any indication that there are going to really be too many games that'll come out, except for retro games, not even like remake of the games, just the original game that came out 40 years ago, like in its original graphics. And like, that's not really a good idea. What are they trying to do here? It doesn't sound very good. So I would actually say the Amico has a better shot at succeeding than the Atari VCS. I think the Atari VCS might crash and burn harder than the Ouya did, because at least like the Ouya had an identity also. The Atari VCS, like, we have no idea what they're trying to sell this console as. It's just a console, basically. Like, it's a console. What games are on it? No one has any idea. And, like, it's supposed to come out in a few months? Really? We don't even know what games are on it? What the hell, you know? We don't know what features it has. We don't know anything. It's just, it feels kind of like a scam. At least with Amico and Tommy Tallarico, like, you know it's legit. Even if the plan, even if the idea is not solid, like, at least it's a legit product that they're trying to sell. And I don't think that's the case with the Atari. I feel like it's kind of a scam. It's kind of like the Coleco Chameleon. Like, they have no plan. They just want to use the Atari name, kind of like what they try to do with the Coleco name with the Chameleon. Whatever company used that name, I don't even know. Just some bullshit scam. And I feel like that might be the case right now with the Atari VCS, but the Amico seems legit. I just don't think it will succeed. So then I made this video talking about fake YouTube journalists. It was really, you know, people were like, you're throwing shade at a specific YouTuber. Like, there definitely was certain YouTubers that definitely triggered me making that video, but it really isn't me trying to go after one particular person. Like, this is a thing that's really going on in the community, where there are people that literally come up with fake news. They see like a stupid post on Twitter or Reddit post like that's completely unsubstantiated, and they're just gonna run with it. They're gonna pretend that they're a news channel, pretend that they're a legitimate source, and say, yeah, I have sources that say the PlayStation 5 is in trouble. Like, who the hell are you? You know what I mean? Like, you read a stupid post online and you think that you're an expert and like that you have all this information, then you actually look back and most of the information they have turns out to be bullshit. But people still subscribe to these channels, people still watch these videos, and I just don't understand why. Like, obviously people are interested in the content because they click on it and everything and they get fooled, but like eventually you think like people would start to realize this channel is a scam. It's literally bullshit. It's fake news. But somehow a lot of these channels are able to survive and thrive over the years, and I just don't get that. MagnaMaster quoted something I said in the video where I say, you call yourselves journalists? Think about who is called journalists these days. The job description has lost all its meaning. Kotaku, Polygon, PC Gamer, VentureBeat, all those frauds call themselves journalists. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of understand what you're saying, and I agree that a lot of these sources, a lot of these journalists have definitely lost a lot of their credibility over the years. But, I mean, these YouTubers, these parasites on YouTube are a whole different league. At least these people who work for Polygon or PC Gamer, like, they come up with their own stories. Like, they don't steal it from other people. But these people literally just regurgitate news articles from those websites that you just listed and claim to be journalists themselves. Like, you're not a journalist. What type of journalism are you doing? You're copying articles that other people wrote and pretty much presenting it as your own. It's like a sophisticated form of plagiarism. That's what I think it is. So yeah, I mean, I don't have much respect for the real journalists, I guess you call them, the people who work for Polygon and all those other websites. But I respect them a little bit more than these YouTube parasites, because at least these journalists that, yeah, still have their own problems, at least they come up with their own reporting. These people on YouTube, though, not so much. They have nothing of value to offer. And Sailor Mercury says, you make a good point. I sadly admit I fall for that clickbait stuff from channels like Review Tech all the time. Also, that OnlyFans joke was hilarious. Yeah, I thought so too. I thought that was a pretty nice joke that I fit at the end. I could be funny when I want to. Yeah, not really. I suck. Anyway, yeah, as far as like the whole Review Tech thing, yeah, I mean, Review Tech is definitely one of those guys that I could really think of as someone who stands out as a great example of what I'm talking about these fraud journalists that just copy articles and present it as their own, and also come up with fake stories that just have no merit to them, and they deceive people on purpose so they click on their video and you get the ad revenue. I mean, that's obviously what Review Tech and all these other YouTubers are up to, and I'm just tired of it. Then I made a documentary on the PlayStation 1 and its impact on the video game industry. You guys really seem to enjoy that video also. Dr. Daniel left a really long comment that I'm going to have to address because he put so much time into it that I feel like he should be featured on here. I can't fit the entire comment on here because it's just way too long and it doesn't really fit on the screen that well. But he says, after watching, I have to say that's a very good and well-done video, but I do have some comments. Number one, technically speaking, the PlayStation is the 5th most selling console because the Game Boy is the 3rd with 118 million, and the original DS is 2nd with 154 million. Because I mentioned the PlayStation as the 3rd best-selling console, and he says, well, no, it's the 5th best-selling console because the DS and the Game Boy, well, I don't count handhelds as consoles. I think those two things should be completely separate. It's kind of annoying that it's kind of arbitrary that we group handhelds and consoles together. Just like, why are we doing that? So I like to differentiate the two. So yeah, when we're talking about home consoles, the PlayStation is the 3rd best-selling. Then he also talks about Sony going to Sega, but what actually happened there, Sega of America did not get on board, but Sega of Japan said no, because in their mind, Sony knew nothing about games, so it seems the stereotypes surrounding Sony traveled to the business world as well. Yeah, Sega was definitely going through a lot of turmoil, especially between the American division and the Japanese division. They never saw eye to eye, especially when we're talking about the 32X and the Saturn, that whole debacle. So I'll definitely expand a lot more about Sega and its demise as I get to that point when I make documentaries about those events in gaming history. And Dr. Dan had a couple other things to talk about, but it's pretty much just repeating points that I already made in the video, but I just wanted to address some of the criticisms that he had, or just clarifications that he wanted to bring up, and I just wanted to address that. Moving on to the other comment from MagnaMaster, who says, it's a shame that Sega fucked up the Saturn's marketing and launch, getting devs involved. The Saturn had CDs just like the PlayStation and more power, but Sega just doomed it to fail. It could have been a really good competition for the PlayStation. Yeah, the Saturn definitely had a lot of potential. So did the Dreamcast. I mean, Sega had a lot of good ideas, but as far as implementing them, I mean, they were just so disorganized. After the Genesis, it just seems like the company had no idea what the hell they were doing. Especially with what Dr. Dan brought up about the civil war between Sega of America and Sega Japan. I mean, those two divisions of Sega just did not see eye to eye, and of course Sega of Japan was the final decision maker, but they didn't really coordinate with Sega of America. So Sega of America was like, yeah, it's time to release the 32X, that's what we're doing. And Sega Japan's like, whoa, we're coming out with a new console. Like, just so much miscommunication, so much mismanagement, and it's a shame that that's what happened with Sega, but that's really why the company died. And SpongeMatt said, I really don't have any words. This video blew my mind. Well, thank you, Matt. It seems like a lot of you really enjoyed this video, and I'm glad, because I put a lot of effort into these documentary videos, and in terms of views, they don't do so well, but you guys really seem to like them, so I'm definitely going to make more of them. Here's another video that got a lot of hits this month about Xbox One users, how they're going to buy a PlayStation 5 instead of a Series X. That's a bold prediction that I'm making, but I'm very confident it's going to come true. I think that this generation is going to be a complete blowout for Sony. I don't think it's going to be even close. Like, if you thought this generation wasn't even close with Sony, Sony's going to widen the gap even further, because I don't think the Series X really has a lot going for it besides power, but power doesn't sell a console, guys. Remember, we had that conversation back in March, that the most powerful console has never won a generation. So people are all of a sudden saying, oh yeah, it's the most powerful console, Series X, so it's going to win. Like, that doesn't mean anything. And the power gap that people are talking about between the PlayStation 5 and Series X aren't even that significant. So as much as I don't want to see it happen, I think that this generation, the 9th generation, Sony is going to dominate Microsoft and any of the other competition that they might have. Ethan Blair says, I think personally Xbox will come out on top. I want Xbox Series X to be successful. And of course I want the Series X to be successful. I just don't think it will. You might think they're in better shape now than they were last generation with Don Matrick and the whole DRM thing. Like, they might be in a better PR position to win over a lot of people this time around, but I don't think it's enough, because you need the games in order to sell a console, and I don't think the Xbox is going to have the games to win this generation. And don't get me wrong, they have a lot of games. They have a lot of studios that they bought recently for their Game Pass service, so you have all these games on Game Pass, but it's a problem of quantity versus quality. And I don't think Microsoft will have higher quality games this generation than Sony. I don't think it's going to be much different than it was last generation. They might have more studios, but are they the types of games that people want to play? Are all these indie studios going to provide experiences that people are going to want to play over Sony and their first-party offerings? I think the answer is simply put, no. Absolutely not. I hope Microsoft surprises me this generation, but I don't think it's very likely. Sailor Mercury says, if Sony gets a monopoly on the high-end consoles next gen, since I doubt stubborn Nintendo will ever try to compete again, that will be terrible. I say this as a PlayStation gamer. Competition is what stopped Sony's arrogance from the early PS3 era, and now that they've taken the lead again, they've gotten fat and lazy again. Also, they have been doing rampant censorship in games, particularly Japanese ones, which is very anti-consumer. Once they are the only viable console on the market, they will continue it and eventually start toning down violence as well. I'm not sure if they're going to be toning down violence as far as the Japanese pornographic games. I don't know if that's what you're talking about, the ones that are very sexually suggestive. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't believe in censorship at all. I really don't. And I think you definitely have a really valid concern about what's going to happen if Sony gets a monopoly over the console market. It's not going to be good any way you slice it. Maybe they're going to raise the prices for PS Plus. Maybe they're going to do all these shady things that they couldn't do before. Maybe they're going to be the ones that are going to implement the always online DRM, maybe for the PlayStation 6 or something. I mean, who knows? But in my view, there's no such thing as a good monopoly. Monopolies are always bad, and we should always try to fight them. But that becomes a really challenging thing when the competition isn't really trying. So what are you really going to be able to do at that point, right? I guess another company can step in, but I'm not entirely sure how that's going to play out. Maybe an Amazon or some company that's like a big company that can invest a lot of money, but also they're familiar with tech, like Amazon or something. Like, maybe that could happen? I don't know. I mean, I made a prediction that kind of suggested that there will be another console from a different manufacturer outside of Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft, and that this might be the last Xbox that we're going to see. But I guess we're going to have to see how this is all going to play out. I really hope I'm wrong. I really do. But the future of the console gaming market is not looking very good, in my opinion. And then DL Barisha says, I remember you from the vid you did on PewDiePie. Yeah, that was a long time ago. I actually like PewDiePie now. Well, I don't really watch his videos, but I don't have a problem with him. I was just a stupid little 15-year-old kid that liked to start shit with people, and PewDiePie has always been the biggest channel, so I decided to make a video on him just because. It's funny that people still remember that, though. I find that really funny. And on the topic of Nintendo, since we brought it up earlier, I actually made a video about what's next for Nintendo, what's going to come after the Switch. Will they be able to be competitive against Sony, and what is Nintendo's future going to look like? SpongeMatt thinks Nintendo's next console will be strictly handheld due to how popular the Switch Lite is. They might just release a Switch Lite XL in 2023 and get rid of the hybrid mode altogether. Julius Anderson's like, no! Shinsock and Hype, then I won't buy it personally. To me, I like to have the option of playing and taking on the go. Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree. I don't think Nintendo is going to do that. I think Nintendo's going to continue the hybrid model. I think they're going to continue the hybrid model before they go strictly handheld. I just don't see that happening. I think that prediction is probably right, the one I made about how they're probably going to do another Switch 2, but then after that, the hybrid model is probably going to run its course, and they're probably going to release a real console that will compete with Sony. Maybe that's wishful thinking, but I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to predict something that's going to happen a decade into the future, but it's always fun to speculate. We did some more speculation talking about how the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X might fail at launch because of what's going on with the current crisis. Not only could the consoles potentially be delayed, but even if they're not delayed, we're probably going to have a limited launch because of the supply shortages that we're hearing about with the PS5, and even if the Series X doesn't have a supply shortage, like, it's not going to be much different with their launch, because a lot of people are going to be hurting financially. People aren't going to be able to afford $500, $550, $600 consoles. Like, that's not going to happen. So, yeah, it's going to be a struggle for these consoles for the first couple years. Ryu Bateson thinks, serious case of bad timing, but I see Sony succeeding with the PlayStation 5 regardless. Yeah, I mean, I think that's completely spot on. I think the timing couldn't be any worse for Sony and Microsoft, but I think eventually it's going to rebound, and I think as a result of really what's going to happen is that the generation is probably going to last a little bit longer, like I said in the video. Probably an extra year just so people have time to adopt the new consoles and get situated with that. Kind of like what happened with the 7th gen. It was in the middle of the 2008 crisis, you know? So the manufacturers every now and then have to adjust to circumstances that are out of their control. And then Fritz says, if the virus is still a major threat in the fall, then the consoles will be delayed. I think Sony and Microsoft are just being optimistic and hoping the virus starts to die down around the launch. I don't know exactly, because they posted The Last of Us 2's launch to June 19th, I believe, something like that. Like, that's only a few weeks after the original launch date, which was in late May. Obviously, this thing ain't gonna be over in June, so I guess Sony has some contingency plans. Maybe they'll do a limited launch, maybe, like, the physical release of The Last of Us will be limited, and the PS5 might also have a limited launch in the sense that you only have a few consoles that you'll be able to get, and you only have a certain number of distributors that will actually sell the console, because maybe a lot of the physical retailers will be closed. I mean, maybe that's a little bit too pessimistic. I think maybe the shutdown is going to be lifted by the fall. I at least hope so. But in the best case scenario, the virus is going to set them back by a few months, and they're going to really have to try to figure out a way to work around what's going on right now in order to be able to launch the console without delay and have a successful launch. I mean, I don't think that's going to happen. I think the launch is going to be pretty rocky, and the console market, as well as the PC hardware market, really, I mean, everything's going to be hurting. All aspects of the gaming industry is going to be hurting for a little bit. But I think ultimately the gaming industry is probably in the best shape compared to other industries that are really hit hard. At least while people are locked down, they're playing video games and they're buying new video games. So, you know, there is a bit of a silver lining, I guess. I guess if you're EA or if you're a game publisher, business is doing great, especially if you're Activision with Warzone. Oh my god, they're raking in those dollars. But to sell a brand new $500 game system during the worst economic crisis we've seen since the Great Depression, that's going to be a really tough sell. The only way people are going to buy those consoles is if Sony and Microsoft treat their consoles like a phone and you could do a monthly payment plan or something. I mean, I guess that's one way they could work around it. I think that'd actually be a pretty smart thing for them to do. But I guess we'll see what happens, right? And I just love how smooth the transition is when I'm moving on to different videos, because we just talked about Warzone. Well, this whole video that I made was pretty much all about Warzone and how the console fanboys are triggered about cross-platform play. They think PC gamers don't deserve to play with console players, and that they ruin the experience for console players. Like, oh my god, these people. Ugh. Summonon says it's especially bad when they complain about opt-in crossplay. They really just need to leave crossplay alone. Also, before I get, no, you're a PC turd that wants to spawn camp me with mouse and keyboard. I use a controller. No, you just like PC. I use Linux. I get banned by just about every anti-cheat. I'm not benefiting. Oh, Summonon, I guess if you're only on Linux, I think I know how you discovered this channel. The video I made about how Linux gaming sucks. I guess you checked that one out, and maybe you didn't like that one. But I'm curious, why do you play on Linux and you don't run your games on Windows? Like, what do you have against Windows, and why do you use Linux? And which Linux distro do you use? I want to know that. If you happen to stick around this long into the video, I'm interested to know the answer to that question. But I think you're definitely right about opt-in crossplay. Like, why do you care so much about opt-in crossplay when it's literally something you're not forced to get into? You could literally change the setting, not even just change the setting, you make the setting. If you want to do crossplay, you have to manually turn it on. That's the whole point of opt-in. I guess people are saying, well, I only want to play with Xbox people if I'm on PlayStation. Like, I want to play with my Xbox friends, but I don't want to play with those PC gaming cheaters. Like, okay. But you do realize that most of the people who are cheating on PC, they're using a keyboard and mouse, and if you're using a controller, they're going to try to pair you with people who are using a controller, unless you're squatting up with someone in Warzone that has a keyboard and mouse, then it's all messed up. But usually they try to pair you with people that use the same control input as you do, so I don't see why people are so pissed off. It's just stupid fanboy shit. And then Dust says, love your content, man. Ever need a squad mate on Warzone? Hit me up on Steam. Yeah. It's so annoying how Warzone doesn't have duos. They have trios, they have squads, but they don't have duos. So I have a couple people that I play with, like, but they're only on, like, at different times. So I'm only able to play, like, duo trio, if that makes sense. Like, I turn on trios, but I don't fill the squads because I don't like playing with randos. So hey, maybe we could do a squad together or something. I actually have the game on Xbox because my storage on PC is really shitty, but I might be able to re-download the game and install it on PC just because it's free, and why not, and keyboard and mouse. Like, I feel like Call of Duty Modern Warfare is so much more natural on PC than any other Call of Duty game we ever had. It just feels like a natural fit for the PC platform. It's a shame that Blackout doesn't have crossplay because, in my opinion, that's the better Battle Royale, but hey, whatever. We can definitely play Warzone together at some point though, Dusk, and I appreciate your support of the channel. So then we talked about Microsoft allowing for backwards compatibility on its Xbox consoles. You know, you can play Xbox 360 games and original Xbox games in the Xbox One, but can we potentially see a future where you could also play Xbox original games, Xbox 360, Xbox One, and maybe even Series X games on Windows? Like, is backwards compatibility going to translate into the Windows platform? I think it's very possible that we're going to see the console division of Xbox and the PC Xbox, like, kind of merging together, because we have Game Pass Ultimate right now, but I envision a future where it's just Game Pass. There's no Game Pass Ultimate, and possibly you can play the same games. If you have a library of games on the 360 and Xbox One, you can play those games on your Windows PC. Now, maybe that's just me being really optimistic because I have a huge library of Xbox games, but I really don't want to hold on to my Xbox. I want to just play those games on the superior platform, right? It doesn't seem like MagnaMaster enjoyed the video too much, though. He said, the gameplay gave me cancer. Yeah, because I was playing Modern Warfare 2, running around with a grenade launcher. Hey, that's just how I play my video games. I like to have fun at other people's expense, because I'm an asshole. Fritz says, if what you say is going to be true, it's going to be great for PC gamers. The only thing is I don't see them giving PC the full game as if it were the game ported to PC. Like you said with Overwatch, to not piss off Activision, they might have it where you can't adjust settings, and you can only play with a controller and only with people with other Xboxes, and the only benefit is free online. With that being said, having the option to put Halo in my Blu-ray drive is a positive in itself, and will definitely make the Xbox brand look more appealing to PC gamers. And I really think that's the only thing that's keeping Microsoft away from merging the PC and console market together, because you have a lot of publishers like Activision that have their own PC market, and for Microsoft to come in and say, oh yeah, we'll publish Overwatch, we'll publish Call of Duty, and you can play it on PC with the Xbox store, they're going to be like, hey, wait a second, we're doing that ourselves. We don't want you to sell the game on PC because we're selling the game on PC. So maybe what I'm talking about is just not feasible. It's a pipe dream, but I'm going to keep dreaming because I really want to play all my games on one platform on my beautiful gaming PC, and I don't want to have all these consoles lying around. Like, I'm trying to sell these consoles, to be honest with you, but if I can't transfer my library over to PC, I might have to hold on to them. Which just sucks because one of the big points I made in that video, if you remember, was that I can literally do everything I could do on a console, I can do better on PC, which includes playing games online. I could play games online for free. So having to pay $60 a year just so I could keep playing those games online, like, it just sucks, you know what I mean? Especially when all the exclusive games are just going to be put on PC anyway. Like, what's the point of having a PC and also having an Xbox Series X? Add West style if you're ever on Xbox Call of Duty 4. Yes, I ended up getting the Xbox One X. No, I only slightly regret it. Why would you get an Xbox One X? What's the point? Like, you don't even get real 4K. Isn't it like checkerboarded 4K? Or no, I'm thinking about the PlayStation 4 Pro. You do get real 4K in the Xbox One X, but most of the time, it's not even above 30 frames per second. So what's the point? It's the 4K powerful console, but you can't run above 30 frames? Like, what is so appealing? What was so appealing to the Xbox One X for you that you decided to spend $500 to pick it up? Like, I just don't get that. And when you say Call of Duty 4, do you mean the original Call of Duty 4, or do you mean the Modern Warfare Remastered? Because I have Modern Warfare Remastered, I don't have the original COD 4, even though it's backwards compatible. I just don't have the game anymore, so I guess you could clarify on that, because if you don't have MWR, it's going to be hard for us to play together. But maybe there are other Call of Duty games you have. I have all the old CODs on my Xbox, so we can literally play any other game. And then Przemic says, I'm sorry, I have no idea how to pronounce your name. Is that Polish or something? I don't know. Well, my PC is a beast, but I'm thinking of buying an Xbox Series X just to play on TV. And I know I can play PC on TV, but it's not the same thing. And PS5, well, I had 3 PS4s at launch model, died after 1.5 years. Then I got the second model, then also died. Then I got a PS4 Pro, and that's sold because I realized that it's a piece of shit plastic toy, and I don't want to deal with it. Also dying, then got an Xbox One X, and I could say it doesn't run games as good as my PC, but the build quality on that console I like, not even comparable to Sony's crap. That is why I won't buy 5 after those rumors that they overclocked it from 9 to 10 teraflops. That console is destined to die a lot like the launch Xbox 360. Well, I'm not going to make any predictions on the actual build quality of the PlayStation 5 or the Series X, because that really is anybody's guess. Could be great, could be absolute shit. I'm not even going to comment on that, but really, you're going to get an Xbox Series X. How much of a beast is your PC? Like, what are your specs? Because if your specs are good, don't even bother, because everything you could do on a Series X, you could do on a PC. I know you say you want to play on your TV, and you don't like having to connect the PC to your TV, and you really like that couch TV gaming. I get that, but it's really not worth $600. You know what I mean? If I were you, what I'd recommend is get one of those little Android boxes that let you stream your PC games directly to your TV. So you still have that couch TV gaming experience. You could launch the big picture on Steam or whatever, and you have that experience. You could play your PC games. Because other than that, really, you could do everything that you want to do on the Series X, you can do on the PC, and you could do it even better. So, I really wouldn't recommend you do that. I only did one live stream this month, and it was me reacting to some of my old videos, including the video I made about how PC gamers are communists and they're anti-capitalist and they're Nazis, and I just said all these crazy different things that don't really go together, but whatever. It was a fun stream. You guys seem to enjoy it, and I'll try to do more streams in the future. If you stuck along this far, definitely give some recommendations in the comments on the types of streams you want to see. What types of games do you want to see me play? Because I don't really do gameplay streams. I just talk in front of a camera, so I think it's time to change things up a little bit and do some gameplay live streams. So let me know what you guys want to see with that. And the final video I made in the month of April talked about how I don't feel like I need to get good at video games. Like, I don't give a shit about how good my video game skills are, especially with multiplayer games where you have all these try-hard sweats. Like, I don't give a fuck, you know? I just want to play my games. I just want to enjoy myself. That video apparently didn't do so well with views. I'm not sure exactly why. I guess the title wasn't interesting enough for some people. Whatever. Like I said earlier in the video at the very beginning, what type of content do you want to see on the channel? If you don't like what you're seeing now, let me know what you want to see that's different. Like, I'm definitely open to doing new things, absolutely, but hey, it is what it is. I'm not going to cry over it. If I made videos for the views, I would have quit a long time ago, you know what I mean? So, yeah, the views aren't everything, but I want my subscribers to feel like they enjoy seeing my content, that they look forward to seeing new content, so I definitely take that into consideration. SpongeMat. I played only Fortnite for 6 months straight. My KD went from 0.78 to 1.5 for every game I play now. I can't remember if it was fun or if it drove me insane. I'd honestly say it was worth it, though. I mean, hey, if you enjoy that experience, that's you. Like, I'm not gonna say, oh, the way I play video games is the only way to play video games, and if you treat games seriously, and if you try to get good video games, like, you're a loser. Like, I did not say that in the video. I made it clear that, like, hey, it's just my way of playing games. I'm not gonna try to belittle people who play video games differently than I do. You know, this is just a personal preference that I have, and if that's how you enjoy playing video games, just playing the same game nonstop, only one game for 6 months straight, I don't know how you do it, but hey, to each their own. So at one point in the video, I mentioned that I like to mute everyone in the voice chat because I really don't care about talking to other people. Like, I just want to enjoy myself. I really like playing multiplayer games solo and not squatting up with people. Well, that's not true. Like, I'll squat up with my subscribers, I'll squat up with my friends, but I'm not going to just play with randos and talk to them. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm antisocial, maybe I should stop doing that, but I just don't like talking on the mic. Like, I just like to chill and do my own thing.
Get shit on. You're a bunch of fucking stupid niggers.
MagnaMaster says, broke, using voice chat for coordination. Woke, muting voice chat. Bespoke, trolling in voice chat. Now that actually gave me an idea. You want to like go to like Team Fortress 2 or some game that I just don't care if I get banned or whatever, like get banned from the servers, and just like mic spam. Just mic spam, mic spam, mic spam. Because I actually have like a few mic spam tracks that we can play, and we're going to piss a lot of people off. Hey, maybe that'll be a fun YouTube video, me just trolling and pissing people off, because that is what I do best. Maybe we should bring some of that back. We should bring some of that flavor back to the channel. Like, when I was the console king, I was pissing so many people off. Maybe I should just start pissing people off again. Maybe that'll get people back in the channel, or maybe they'll just all unsubscribe and be pissed off. I don't know. Either way, it sounds like fun, and maybe we should do that one day. And finally, Summonon. For me, it depends on the context. Like, a casual TF2 match is different from a competitive game of CSGO or Overwatch, so demanding a hoovy get good in a casual game is retarded. But if you go to a comp game and only fuck around, you'd be a complete ass, and I'd say to please fuck off. And you should see this as a zero-sum game. You can ask for someone to contribute without being a dick, and you can focus on having fun without ruining it for everyone else. Hope you get what I mean. Yeah, I do get what you mean, and I actually got a new idea since I was talking about griefing with MagnaMaster. Maybe we should get uncompetitive and just act like a bunch of noobs. But anyway, Summonon, you bring up a good point about how there should be a line. Like, if you're playing a casual game and you're just a casual person that's just trying to enjoy your game, like, the whole get good culture is just fucking stupid. But if you're actually trying to be competitive, then you should definitely act like you're competitive. I think that's a reasonable thing to do, but most of the shit where I see this is, like, not in a competitive environment at all. Like, I'm playing just a casual lobby of Call of Duty or whatever game I'm playing, and everyone's just a sweat. Everyone's a wannabe fucking ninja or whatever, you know? Like, I just hate it. Also, skill-based matchmaking is cancer. I think every game should remove it from their matchmaking system, and I guess that sounds like a contradiction because I say that I hate the whole get-good culture, I hate the whole sweaty competitive bullshit, but, like, that's the whole point. Like, if you turn off skill-based matchmaking, like, it feels more authentic. Like, you're playing against any random person online, and you could either do really bad, like you could have an awful KD, but then the next game you're just stomping a whole bunch of noobs. Like, I love that volatility in online multiplayer, and with skill-based matchmaking, it's just adding to the toxic bullshit that I just hate with these online multiplayer games. Like, I just hate it. Skill-based matchmaking sucks. Ugh. But damn, 42 minutes and 47 seconds? Oh, I got a lot of shit to edit. Oh, man. Yeah, I got my birthday coming up Sunday, I got a lot of stuff, and I got a final assignment due tomorrow that I haven't even started yet. So this is going to be a fun night editing and doing homework and doing final papers and shit. But my goal is to get this video up by the afternoon of May 1st, so if it's up later than that, if it's like May 2nd this video's just getting up, you should spam in the comments, chat is a lazy piece of shit, but hopefully I get it done in time. Thank you all for your comments, I love you all, I appreciate the support, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.